How thin is the line that divides a Messiah from a villain? The story of Dune Part 2 shows us how the power of prophecies and manipulation in a society can cause unprecedented political change. The human soul will always look for a savior, and the most powerful families in this universe know that very well. In this video, we will be looking closely into the journey of the Savior in Dune Part 2, and how it will change the future of this universe forever, as the prophecies could be lies. What would you think if I told you that Chani is the only one who could stop Paul from becoming a villain? Could it be that maybe she was also the one who caused Paul to go down that path? And for more videos of your favorite series and movies, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Welcome to the Oasis Geek. The story of Paul Atreides is not the story of the typical savior. It is possibly the result of a millenary experiment of the Order of the Bene Gesserit sisters. This secret order uses the spice, the most valuable element of Arrakis, to have visions, in order to increase their power from the shadows. This topic is perhaps one of the most important for this order. They needed a man who could be subjected to different rituals, and who could survive to become their leader. This man, going through the ritual of the water of life and the agony of the spices, would gain not only the ability to see the future and the past of all his ancestors, but also an almost omnipresent ability, which allows him to see everything that happens around him. For many thousands of years, the Order of the Bene Gesserit sisters have instilled the prophecies of this Messiah among the population of Arrakis. Among the Order, some believe fervently in these beliefs, while others see him as an instrument to manipulate the people and change the balance of power in the universe. And this is perhaps the most disturbing thing about Dune Part 2, as it shows us the archetype of the Messiah, but not because it is a story of mystical or supernatural elements. It is very likely that all the prophecies, as well as Paul's actions in the film, are the result of genetic experiments with the intention of creating a supposed savior who would actually increase the power of this sisterhood. Every step Paul's mother took during her life was to pave the way for the arrival of the Kwisatz Haderach, the supposed Messiah who would change everything. When Paul arrives on Arrakis, his purpose as a Messiah is just a weapon he uses to survive and to advance his own agendas. For Paul, the prophecies are superstitions that he himself didn't believe, but Paul was afraid of his future, because even though he didn't believe in his prophecies, he could see what was going to happen if he marched south. If he fulfilled the prophecies and the messianic rituals, millions of people would follow him, and he would gain power. But millions of people would lose their lives and starve to death. Paul, in his attempt to be the savior, would also become the villain of the story. However, there is one element in the story which the Bene Gesserit order could not foresee, and that is Chani. Paul, having visions of his role as a savior in the universe, also began to have visions of Chani. It is that element that changed the entire future for Paul, and kept him guessing whether to continue his destiny as the supposed Messiah or to stay with her. Paul loves Chani deeply, much more than Chani loves him. And it is because Paul, not only he had experiences with Chani the time they have been together, but Paul has the memories of an infinite number of possible lives together. This is one of the reasons why Paul decides to marry the emperor's daughter. He knows that one of the possible positive futures is that he becomes the leader of the entire empire. But Chani does not understand this. Chani begins to see the traits of the Messiah in Paul, but simultaneously, she suspects that perhaps what he desires is power. Even when we see that Paul gives his sermon after resurrecting and fulfilling the prophecy, Chani stands silently. She herself doubts that the prophecies are real and decides to go her own way. However, although Paul is on his way to becoming that messianic figure, this was achieved thanks to the fact that in the ritual of the water of life, she mixed one of her tears with the worm's poison, causing Paul to resurrect. The interesting thing about that moment is that Paul's mother was the one who forced her to be part of this ritual, which she didn't want. It is as if every prophecy to make Paul the Messiah was manipulated and forced by Paul's mother. However, there is something important that we cannot forget. When Chani mixes her tears with the water of life, for an instant, her lips touch that liquid, the same one that is associated with the memories of the past. It is possible that we will see Chani having memories of what happened in the past, and she will begin to have visions in the next movie, the same one that will lead her back to Paul. But what will happen to the Messiah? Is Paul really the Messiah? In the Dune universe, there are no miracles or supernatural elements. In the past, there was a battle between humans and machines. The same battle led humanity to create another type of organic technology, which allowed humans to improve their abilities and not requiring computers. Understanding this, there is no way that Paul is really a Messiah. Paul is the result of genetic experimentation and manipulation of the population of Arrakis. It is a way they created from the shadows to change the balance of power, and it worked perfectly for them. However, at the end of Dune Part 2, Paul escapes even the control of the Order itself, using his voice against people of authority, which implies that, although this sisterhood of witches may have created the lies of the Messiah, what they created is so powerful that it is possible to make the prophecies come true. And this is perhaps the irony of the story of Dune. If Paul's history as a Messiah is a lie, his actions have gradually made it a truth. What may have started as a physical experiment to shift power eventually became the arrival of a Messiah who would change history, for better or for worse. I believe that in the next movie, Paul would be faced with a decision: to continue his path as the chosen one and destroy all his enemies, even if that means millions of lives as collateral damage, or to reject the path of the Messiah and return to Chani, the only person who could divert him from his purpose. Though, of course, there is also the possibility that there is still a greater purpose with her, but one that we don't fully understand yet. For some, Paul is actually the Messiah. For others, he is a coup plotter, trying to seize power from the Empire. What is clear is that the Holy War has begun, and that the third installment of Dune will show us if Paul is really the Messiah, or the villain of the story. But tell me, what do you think about all this? Will we see Paul using the prophecies to manipulate? Will he really be the chosen one of the prophecies? And for more videos of your favorite series and movies, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. You are on The Oasis Geek.